Welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We are going to be looking at a pretty interesting idea, and that is the idea that hardship can actually make you stronger.
Interesting.
So I got this article called Adversity, Resilience, and Success.
Okay.
And it's all centered around this proverb.
Okay.
Easy life creates weak people. Hard life creates strong people. Strong people create easy life.
I like that.
Yeah. And so we are going to unpack that, see what it means, and look at how facing challenges can actually lead to like a more fulfilling life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is really interesting is that proverb you just mentioned, sounds like something that could have been said like thousands of years ago.
Right.
But it actually lines up really well with modern psychological research. Like the article talks about this concept of adversity as a crucible.
Yeah.
Suggesting that hardship can forge resilience.
That's interesting the way they use that crucible metaphor. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. So like think about a crucible.
Okay.
It's like this container they use to heat up metals to like super high temperatures.
Right.
And that process like burns away impurities.
Okay.
And it makes the metal stronger. And it's kind of the same way with people, like when we face challenges, it can feel like really intense.
Yeah.
Like we're going through fire.
Yeah.
But it's during those times, that our resilience is really tested and strengthened.
Right.
And that helps us to bounce back from setbacks.
I've definitely noticed that in my own life. Like last year, I decided to run a marathon, which was like totally outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it was tough, but like
that.
Finishing that race just gave me this huge boost of confidence. It was like I could handle anything.
That's awesome.
Does that like fit in with the research from the article?
Totally.
Okay.
Overcoming challenges like that.
Yeah.
Even if they seem small.
Yeah.
It can really boost your self-esteem.
Right.
And it gives you this sense of accomplishment. And the article talks about how those experiences really build up your self-efficacy, which is like that belief in yourself.
Okay.
That you can handle whatever life throws at you.
Right.
And that self-efficacy is like super important for tackling bigger challenges later on.
Okay.
And working towards that easier life that the proverb was talking about.
Right. But the article doesn't just focus on like the good side of hardship, right? It also talks about how a life that's too comfortable can have downsides.
Exactly.
So like what happens when we don't really face any challenges?
Yeah, that's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because if you never have any obstacles in your life, you can become complacent.
Yeah.
The article suggests that without challenges, we might not have the motivation or resilience to really thrive. It can even lead to this feeling of emptiness or a lack of purpose,
Yeah, there was one thing that really stood out to me in the article.
Okay.
When they talked about this potential link between being obsessed with safety and comfort and having less personal freedom.
Oh, that's interesting.
It made me think like, is there a trade-off here that we're not considering, in our search for comfort and security?
Yeah.
Could that be limiting our freedom in some ways?
That is a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
I mean, we all naturally want to feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
But if that makes our society too risk-averse, then what are we giving up to get that?
It really makes you think.
It does.
The article also highlights some pretty inspiring people.
Oh, yeah.
Who overcame incredible adversity.
Yeah.
And achieved some amazing things.
Yeah. And it's not just about these larger than life figures, is it?
Right.
It's about recognizing that we all have the capacity to bounce back from setbacks and learn from challenges.
Yeah. Like the story of Helen Keller just blows me away. Yeah. She was deaf and blind, but she became like a renowned author, an activist, an educator.
It's incredible.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And then there's Colonel Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe he faced all those business failures and bankruptcy before he found success with Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yeah, those are some truly remarkable examples of resilience.
Yeah.
They show us that hardship doesn't have to define you.
Right.
It can be a springboard to do things you never thought possible.
Yeah, and it's not just about individual resilience either.
Right.
The article gives examples of how whole communities have come together to overcome adversity.
Yeah.
Like the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami.
Oh, yeah, that's a powerful example.
Yeah, despite that unimaginable devastation,
the
communities that were affected showed incredible resilience in rebuilding their lives and infrastructure.
Yeah, it really is a testament to the power power of collective resilience. How people come together in times of crisis
Right.
to support each other.
Yeah. I'd like to dive a little deeper into that tsunami example, though.
Okay.
Like, what specific lessons can we learn about collective resilience from that event?
Sure.
And how can we apply those lessons to other challenges that societies face?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect lead-in to the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll look at the specific ways those communities showed resilience.
Right.
And what we can learn from their experience.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, hold on tight as we shift gears and dive into the world of societal resilience.
Sounds good. So the 2004 tsunami, it was a horrific tragedy.
Right.
But even in the midst of all that devastation, there were these incredible stories of resilience.
Right.
The article talks about how these communities came together. They were sharing resources, offering emotional support, and they worked tirelessly to rebuild their lives.
It's just amazing like how even when they face such immense loss, they still found the strength to survive and help each other.
It's incredible.
What were some of the things that made those communities so resilient?
Well, the article points to a few key factors.
Okay.
One of the biggest things was the strong social cohesion that already existed in these communities.
Right, yeah.
Like people had these deep connections with each other.
Yeah.
And a real sense of shared identity.
Okay.
And that helped them to support each other through the crisis.
Makes sense.
There was also this remarkable ability to adapt and improvise.
Right.
People used whatever resources they could find.
Yeah.
And they came up with really creative solutions to overcome the challenges they faced.
Yeah, that resourcefulness is just so inspiring.
Yeah.
It really shows you what humans are capable of when they're faced with really tough situations.
Absolutely.
But how do we take those lessons from the tsunami and apply them to other challenges that societies face?
Yeah.
Like things like economic inequality or climate change.
That's where the concept of collective resilience comes in.
Okay.
We can learn from what happened after the tsunami
Yeah.
that having strong social networks,
Okay.
being willing to adapt,
Right.
and focusing on shared goals,
Right.
those are crucial for overcoming large-scale problems.
Yeah.
So, for instance,
Okay.
when we're trying to address economic inequality,
Yeah.
it might be really important to foster a sense of community and shared responsibility.
Okay.
And then when it comes to climate change,
Right.
being able to adapt to changing conditions
Yeah.
and come up with innovative solutions,
Right.
that's going to be absolutely essential.
It's like these events that seem so far away
Yeah,
can actually teach us really valuable lessons.
absolutely.
It's all about recognizing those common threads of resilience that connect individual and societal experiences. It brings us back to how philosophers and psychologists view this whole idea of hardship and strength.
Right.
It's so interesting to see how all these different perspectives kind of converge on the idea that challenges can be good for growth.
Yeah, like that Nietzsche quote. That which does not kill us makes us stronger.
I love that quote.
It's a powerful one.
Yeah.
But the article also offers a bit of a more nuanced view.
Okay.
It reminds us that while those manageable challenges can be good for growth, if you're dealing with excessive or traumatic adversity, that can actually be really harmful.
So it's not just about like taking on every challenge you can find. It's about finding a balance between pushing ourselves to grow and also protecting ourselves from situations that could really hurt us.
Right.
So how do we find that sweet spot?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to another interesting idea from the article.
Okay.
Nassim Taleb's concept of anti-fragility.
Anti-fragility. I'm not really familiar with that one.
Okay, so imagine you have three types of systems.
All right.
Fragile.
Okay.
Resilient.
Okay.
And anti-fragile.
Okay.
Fragile things break under pressure.
Yeah.
Resilient things can withstand pressure.
Right.
But anti-fragile things, they actually become stronger from pressure.
Oh, wow.
They don't just bounce back.
Yeah, right.
They actually benefit from challenges and disruptions.
So it's not just about surviving.
No.
It's about getting better because of the adversity.
Exactly.
And that goes back to that proverb we talked about earlier.
Right.
Building strength through hardship. Embracing those crucibles.
Yeah.
It can actually make us more anti-fragile.
Exactly.
When we face all of life's uncertainties.
Right.
Can you give us some examples of anti-fragile systems?
Sure.
And how they benefit from stress?
Yeah. So think about the human body.
Okay.
Our muscles get stronger.
Right.
when we stress them with exercise.
Yeah.
And our immune system becomes more robust.
Okay.
When it's exposed to certain pathogens.
Interesting.
Those are great examples of anti-fragility in action.
Okay, so how can we actually make ourselves more anti-fragile? Like, what are some things we can do?
It's like weightlifting, you know?
Oh, okay.
You wouldn't just start out trying to lift the heaviest weight.
Right, you got to work your way up.
Exactly. You got to gradually increase the resistance to give your muscles time to adapt, to get stronger.
So it's like finding those challenges that push us a little.
Yeah.
But don't completely overwhelm us.
Exactly. You want to embrace those crucibles.
Yeah.
But in a way that helps you grow.
Right.
Without hurting yourself.
Right.
It could be anything, really.
Yeah.
Like learning a new skill.
Okay.
Or finally having that tough conversation you've been putting off.
Right.
Or even facing a fear that's been holding you back.
That's interesting because this whole idea of anti-fragility, it's not just for our personal lives, is it?
No, not at all.
The article talks about applying this to bigger challenges too, like societal problems.
Exactly.
It suggests that if we can create a culture of resilience and a growth mindset, then we'll be better equipped to handle things like economic inequality or climate change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we can embrace the idea that systems can actually get stronger from stressors, then we can approach those big problems in a whole new way.
It's like shifting from defense to offense.
Kinda.
Instead of just trying to prevent bad things from happening, we learn how to deal with them.
Exactly.
And even use them to our advantage.
Exactly. And that brings us right back to the main point of our deep dive.
Okay.
Hardship is hard.
Yeah.
But it can actually make us grow stronger, more resilient, and even more successful.
It's all about embracing that crucible, knowing that those challenges can shape us into stronger and more capable people.
Absolutely.
And communities. This has been such a fascinating conversation.
I agree.
What would you say is like the key takeaway?
Well, I think the biggest thing to remember is that we all have the potential for resilience and growth. Challenges are going to come no matter what. But we get to choose how we respond to them.
That's a good point.
And if we use the principles we've been talking about today, we can build that anti-fragility. We can become more resilient and ultimately create a more fulfilling life for ourselves and a stronger world for everyone.
I like that. And the article ends with a challenge for us.
Oh, yeah.
What's one little challenge you can take on this week to step outside your comfort zone and build up your own anti-fragility?
I like that.
Doesn't have to be anything huge. Maybe it's trying a new recipe or calling up someone you haven't talked to in a while.
It's a good one.
Or tackling that project you've been putting off.
Those are all great ideas.
The point is to find those opportunities for growth. Even if they're small.
Yeah, those little steps add up over time.
They do.
Those moments of courage and resilience can really lead to some big changes.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you learned a lot about the power of hardship to make us stronger and help us grow.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep exploring. Keep growing. And keep embracing those crucibles.
Until next time.